My name is Summer, and this is my 2024 year in sewing. Hello, welcome or welcome back. I had not planned to film another video this year, but then I started seeing other people posting their 2024 year in sewing, my year in sewing wrapped videos, and I thought I want to make one too. So I've never done a sit down chatty video like this before. So grab a cup of tea, grab some coffee, maybe put me on in the background while you're doing some laundry, whatever. But hopefully this is interesting to see kind of what my sewing journey has been this year. And I know that hopefully I will at least find it interesting watching it back at a later date. So I'm going to talk a little bit about just my sewing journey in general. And then I want to go through and rate some of the things that I made this year. And then we'll maybe get into talking a little bit about next year and what I'm envisioning for the channel specifically next year. So if this sounds up your alley, if anything you see in this video sparks your interest, leave me a comment down below, like the video, and consider subscribing so that you don't miss anything coming up in 2025. So I originally learned to sew when I was in high school. My mom taught me on her sewing machine, and I remember making a couple of dresses for school dances, and I liked it at that point. I definitely was not making anything revolutionary. I was just using probably those simplicity patterns, I think that's what they're called, but I remember having fun with it. I remember thinking it was a cool skill, but I also, interestingly, don't remember having any dreams or aspirations of making things for every day. I guess I kind of saw it as a way to make something for a special occasion only, which I just say is interesting because now as an adult, my sewing is very much motivated by things that I want to wear and crafting more of a me-made wardrobe. Yeah, I sewed for a couple years, really just doing a couple projects in high school. And then I did not pick it up again until last year, maybe 2 years ago. I just started getting the itch for wanting to distance myself from the fashion industry and specifically fast fashion and figure out how to make my own clothes. I also, like a lot of women, have kind of a complicated relationship with clothing and sizing, and I just wanted to make things that made me feel good and made me feel good in my body. But it wasn't until this past year that I actually bought my own domestic sewing machine and really got into it. And then obviously this fall I started a YouTube channel which I feel really pushed me to make more things, and it was really fun to be able to share about the things that I was making. So yeah, that's just a little bit of background on kind of my sewing journey. So I would say the things that I'm going to talk about today are all pretty much from the past 6 months of sewing, and it's primarily things that you've seen in videos, but also a couple of things that I made before I started making videos. So without further ado, let's get into rating some of my 2024 makes. Okay, I've just scooched myself over a little bit, so hopefully there's room here for me to put pictures or videos of the actual things so you can see what I'm talking about. First up is a white summer dress that I made before I started YouTube, and I love this dress. I would give this an 8 out of 10. I think it's super cute. I didn't wear it that much this summer, but it was probably my first piece that I made that actually really lives in my closet, and I feel like I would wear it once it's a little bit warmer. I actually made this from a linen bed sheet that I was no longer using, and obviously hadn't been used very much. The only thing with this dress is it's pretty sheer. The top layer of the dress has a lining, but the rest of it doesn't. So I just have to be very careful with what I'm wearing underneath it. But that is, I would say, my only downside. It's a super fun, flowy, functional summer dress. Next up is another thing that didn't make it onto the channel, but this was my first attempt at making the Magic Pants pattern by Ann Tilley. I was so drawn to this pattern because I kind of have an obsession with wanting to make the perfect pants. I actually think next year that's going to be a big focus here on YouTube. I hate hard pants. I hate pants that have a lot of structure, but I also don't want to look like a slouch 100% of the time. So I am kind of obsessed with the idea of creating my perfect pair of pants. And when I saw the Magic Pants, I was like, well, I have to try that. I would give my make of them a 7 out of 10, maybe a 6. It didn't go badly. The pattern itself is incredible and I would really like to remake it. I feel like I just did not choose the right fabric for this and I did not get the sizing right. When I started putting them all together, I realized that I had made them too small, and so I had to put in like extra panels of fabric on the sides. Then once I'd done that, it felt like too big and bulky, so I just didn't quite get the sizing right. But all in all, this was my first time making pants that didn't have like an elasticated waistband, and I'm super proud of myself. And I think it was a really good jumping off point for some of the things that I made later in the year and some things that I want to make next year. Next up is the item that started this channel, this like gray linen cottagecore dress that I attempted to make in 3 days and failed miserably at. First of all, I just think it's so funny that I tried to make this in 3 days, and like at the time that was really a huge challenge. Like I did not know if I would be able to finish it in 3 days. It was not just a clickbait title. I genuinely didn't think I could do it. And now I think I could probably make this in like 1 day. Although to be fair, I do famously say that I can make things a lot more quickly than I can actually make them. Regardless, I'm going to be kind of harsh on this one and give it a 4 out of 10. I think that the dress itself is fine, but I just realized more and more after making it that I don't think it's my style. I don't think it looks that good on me. I don't know that the fit is great, and I'm just not drawn to wearing it. When I wear it, I just don't really feel like myself, and I think that's been a big part of my sewing journey this year, is like making things that I think look cool and I like the pattern, but then sometimes when I make them and I put them on my body, I just don't really feel like myself. So definitely wanting to find more of like what my style is in sewing, and I think I kind of missed the mark on this one. Also, I made this out of a linen that I really like, but it wrinkles like crazy, which I know that's what linen does, but I think I didn't really have a good concept of that when I made the dress. So laundering it is just an absolute nightmare. It comes out as like a shriveled little ball. So not my favorite thing to wear and wear again. Okay, now we're moving into my first like costume piece. So as you know, for Halloween this year, I went as Anxiety from Inside Out, and I made the whole costume in like less than a week. I'm actually so proud of myself for making this and making it as quickly as I did. It was a really big challenge for me, and I think it turned out okay. So we'll talk about the pants first. I would say I would give the pants like a 6 out of 10, maybe a 7. I really like them, and they were, again, like my second time making a more tailored pant, and I'm so happy with how a lot of the details turned out. I will say, I'm like a little bit embarrassed to say this on camera, but at the very end of the video, when I was like trying everything on and like showing it off for the video, I had already worn this costume to a Halloween party at this point, but as I was bending over to grab the camera, like on my last shot, I completely ripped these pants. They are not fixed yet, so I can show you the front, but I can't show you the back. So they've just been in my like to mend pile, which I feel a little bit embarrassed about because I spent so much time making them, and I even talked about in the video like wanting to wear them again and again. No, they've just been sitting in my mending pile. I do think I can fix them and hopefully just like reinforce where the seam failed, but it happens sometimes, you know? I feel like sometimes that's why I'm terrified to wear my own clothes that I've made out in the world, because I'm like, surely this is just gonna fall apart. And that time it did. Fortunately, I was not like truly in public. I was just like outside in my yard taking some final shots, but oh man. And then as far as the shirt, guys, this one gets like a 2 or 3 out of 10. I feel like I kind of slapped this one together. I did a patchworking thing that I didn't love. I didn't love the pattern for it, to be honest. I think it just like, I found the sizing really strange, at least for my size, because it fits like lengthwise, but then it was just like way too wide for me. I think the pattern was just not the right one for me. I didn't love the fabric that I used. It all just felt like kind of slapdash. So a little bit disappointed about that, but it was fun for the costume. And now we're moving into Craftmas territory. So these are things that I've made quite recently. And again, just focusing on the wearable items, although I made a lot of other things that I love that are not wearable. So first up is the Christmas skirt that I made. I would give this a 6 out of 10. I really like it. Obviously, if you watched the video, you will have seen that I had some technical difficulties with it. I've never installed an invisible zipper like this before, or at least I haven't in a very long time. And I feel like between that and trying to do mostly French seams as my closures on this, I feel like I didn't quite get the fit right. It just didn't come out 100% the way that I had envisioned it. But all in all, it's a good skirt. I will definitely wear it for like holiday parties or winter parties, but I feel like I could have done better. I feel like there was a lot of room for improvement with this skirt. And then my ugly Christmas sweater. I love this one. I'm gonna give this like a 9 out of 10. This was the perfect project for me to do at the time because I was starting to get tired out from doing a lot of Craftmas videos, and I wanted something kind of like quick and easy and wearable, and the ugly Christmas sweater just fit the bill. I was able to reuse an old sweater that I was not wearing at all anymore, so I feel like I've given it a new life. And then being able to use up a bunch of different Christmas fabrics and kind of like create my own design was super fun. I really enjoyed the patchworking technique that I did for this. Yeah, I will definitely wear this again and again. I think this will be part of my like Christmas staple collection. So it came out wonky, but in like a fun, ugly Christmas sweater way. And yeah, I have nothing else to say about it. I love it. I just love it. Last, but certainly not least, are my Christmas PJs. Now, I don't know how much it came across in the video, but I was very frustrated making these. I think I set the timeline way too fast for myself and really stressed myself out about getting these done and getting a video up before Christmas. However, the finished product is something I am so proud of. I literally wore these pajamas all day Christmas Eve and then all day Christmas and had to like stop myself from putting them back on for Boxing Day. Like, I still want to wear them constantly. I love everything about them. They are so soft, so comfortable. I honestly wouldn't change anything. Well, maybe I would add the piping that I intended to do around the collar and around the like lapel bit, but I didn't have enough piping to do that. So maybe that's the one thing I would change, but I like 10 out of 10, truly 10 out of 10, no notes. I would love to make this pattern again so that I have an excuse to wear these on repeat constantly. Just have like 7 sets of them. I would love that. I think that's it. Those are all of the like main things that I made that are wearable this year. I'm honestly so proud of myself, even just seeing the progress like from the beginning of the year, or like when I started making things mid-year to the end of the year with these Craftmas videos. Thinking about the 3-day dress that I tried to sew in my first YouTube video compared to sewing an entire pajama set basically in like 3.5 days. I am just so proud of like how far I've come and how many techniques I've picked up along the way. I think there's still so many things that I want to get better at and go back to, but I feel like I've really built a good foundation for sewing, and I'm so proud of myself for doing that. I also, before we kind of wrap up and talk about next year, I wanted to give an honorable mention to the stockings, which are obviously not truly wearable items, but this was probably my favorite project aside from the pajamas that I made all year. I love them so much, and I feel like they're truly going to be items that we pull out again and again, year after year. It was my most like unexpected item because I really just thought it was going to be this cute, quick, fun make, and it ended up being really meaningful to me to make stockings for myself and my partner and my cat and be able to use them on Christmas Day. So honorable mention to those stockings. Now, as we're wrapping up the year and looking forward to next year, I wanted to talk about some of the things that I'm excited about for the channel and for my sewing coming up in 2025. So I think the main kind of pillar that I want to focus on is trying to find my style and sew things that kind of fit that style. I would say that I've never been someone who is particularly fashionable. I always felt like growing up, clothes didn't fit me the way that I saw other girls or like models wearing them. And so I just never really took the time to find my own style. And I really want to change that. I really want to cultivate a wardrobe that feels fun and accessible and exciting for me. And within that, I really want to have more me-made pieces to choose from that excite me and that I want to wear on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, that's a little bit of like a vague umbrella, I know, but if any of you have any thoughts or like resources on like how to find your style, I would love to hear about it, because I feel like it is something that has just really eluded me for quite a long time. And I'm ready to like embrace my style and embrace like the clothes that I'm wearing as a representation of who I am. In order to do that, I definitely am going to prioritize an early in the year closet clear out so that I can see what I have and maybe identify some gaps in what I currently have. I definitely trend more towards like comfortable loungewear items and don't find that I have a lot of things when it comes to putting together like a look. So if that's something you would be interested in watching, my little wardrobe clear out, please let me know. Again, not something that I would typically do on the channel or that I've done before, but I'm definitely open to sharing it. And again, kind of on that journey of finding my style, I mentioned earlier that a core goal of mine is finding the perfect pants. And I would define perfect pants as something that looks put together, that I could wear out in the world or to an event, but doesn't make me feel like stuffy or restricted, because I think that's how so many pants make me feel. I feel like I either look like a slouch in like activewear or loungewear, or I just feel really out of my element, super uncomfortable, and I feel like there must be a way to like merge those two things, comfort and aesthetics. Some people say you can't have both, but like I'm desperate for it. So I definitely would like to do some research and try some pants patterns in an attempt to find my perfect pants in 2025. So yeah, if you have any pants patterns that you love, especially things that prioritize comfort but still look cute, please leave them below, because I would love to check them out. I also realized kind of in editing a lot of the videos that I've made, how often I talk about, oh, I made this pattern for the first time and these are the things that I would like to change making it again. So I think it would be a good idea for me to actually remake some old patterns that I've made once, especially things that I've really loved, but maybe the sizing wasn't quite right, or the fit, like something about it I just didn't put together correctly. I think I would definitely like to do some remakes on patterns that I've tried in the past. And then this one is a little bit rogue because it has nothing to do with sewing, but it does have to do with making clothes. And that is, I would love to try knitting. So I've been a crocheter for a long time, like since I was a teenager, but the more that I see people making their own knitwear, I think that knitwear is really what I would like to be making. Sometimes I crochet things and hope that it turns out looking like knitwear, but that's not really how it works. So I think this year I would really love to try knitting, and if I like it, hopefully for next autumn, winter time, I can start making some of my own like knitwear pieces. Again, back to finding my style. I love wearing sweaters and like cozy, comfortable items. So to be able to create those myself, I think would be really empowering and something I'm super excited about. Those are just a few ideas. Obviously, I have a lot more, but if there's anything in particular that you would like to see me do on the channel, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And if you have any 2025 sewing goals or fiber arts goals in general, or just goals, let me know in the comments. I love getting to know you a little bit better, and I would love to hear what you're excited to work on in 2025. With that, I think I'm going to close out the last video, truly the last video of 2024. I do want to thank you so much for following along if you've been watching the videos, or subscribing. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so down below. We just hit 50 subscribers, and although that might not seem like a lot, To me, it feels really exciting because when I started making these videos in the fall, I had no idea if literally anyone would watch them. So to see people watching them, to see people enjoying them and leaving comments and subscribing is super exciting. It feels like I'm getting to share my sewing with a bunch of friends. And yeah, it's just fun to see this friendship community kind of building. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in 2 weeks in 2025. Bye.